Yo, what's good, guys? We are back at it with another MLB The Show 24 video for you guys, and today I'm going to be tier listing all of the possible Team Affinity guys to kind of let you guys know who you need to be going for first, who is more meta out of these cards. This does not take into account the aspect of grinding Team Affinity faster, which you will be able to do if you take pitchers faster. In general, if a division has a pitcher, you're going to want to take that first if you plan on grinding the rest of the division out. But if you're just playing ranked, if you're just, grinding BR right now, and you just want to take the best players available, then I want this resource to be out there for you. Secondly, bunch of new faces to the channel, specifically 210. So that's hype. That's the biggest day of subscribers jump that the channel's ever had. So I want to thank everybody new here. And if you are new, if you are seeing this and you're recommended and you are not subscribed, I would urge you to, because we're doing this all year. So AJ Burnett, probably the most disappointing card for me. I thought he was going to be really solid. I think he's C tier. His pitch mix is not the best, and he doesn't throw super hard. I thought this card would be hitting 97, 98 pretty routinely, like Burnett cards of the past, but you can see right here it is a veteran card. So it is old man Burnett, and he has lost quite a few ticks on his fastball. Wagner, probably S tier, up there for one of the better lefty relievers in the game right now. Do I think he's very good? No, but just due to the lack of talented lefty relievers in the game right now, he's up there. Brandon Crawford, this card I'm probably going to need a little bit of a refresher on. Let's see. So we're seeing 69, 106, 75, 82. Does not make the Bucks and team. Crazy good clutch and good fielding. A little bit slow, but people always love Brandon Crawford's swing. So I think he's A tier. I think the power numbers hurt him just a little bit, and the contact hurts him just a little bit. But if you want to use this card, he is definitely viable, and you can use him. Brandon Webb, S tier right now. At this current state of the game, he's going to be like an S+, like a very meta pick on Hall of Fame and Legend, but you can use this card on All-Star. He's very feasible on All-Star just because he has really high hits right now, and with the batters that people are using, getting the smallest PCI possible is very important. And his pitch mix is pretty good. He does throw a little bit slow, but the hits, that high of a hit is very hard to come by right now. Dozier, A tier. I don't like his swing personally. I don't think his swing's that great, but if you do, you can definitely use him. You can see you're looking at pretty good contact here. Great power at second base. At second base in particular, that's great. Does not make the Bucks in team. The clutch is abysmal, so these kind of high contact numbers kind of get offset by his clutch being super bad. And he is a decent fielder. So I think he's a good option, and if you want to run him, you can run him. But I think there's better options at second base right now. Correa's a tricky one because his fielding stats are pretty good. You can see contact-wise, he's superb. The power is a little bit lackluster. He's not making the Buxton team either. And the fielding looks good on paper, but he is kind of slow. So he's basically Cal Ripken Jr. with a better swing. So if you like kind of that archetype of shortstop, then he is here for you, and he's definitely usable, and he will definitely be very good on those higher difficulties, but he may struggle to hit some home runs that some other guys would. Cedric, A tier. This one might be a little controversial. I think his swing is great, and these hitting stats are good enough right now, but the power against lefties is a big knock. The clutch being high is a big plus, but fielding-wise is kind of the biggest thing. He's more of a left fielder. He's not very fast. There's no way to get speed on him other than add parallels. So he's more of a left fielder, and I think when you look at guys in left field, there are better options. But again, if you want to run this Cedric, he's definitely viable, and you can definitely make him work. Chuck Nasty, I think this is another A-tier guy. I'm going to have to check his stats. So you're looking at 199. Really high contact, really high clutch, great power against righties, decent enough power against lefties. Really in the field, he's just horrendous, right? So he's more of a DH type of guy. If you need a DH, he's good. If you need a bench bat that has stupidly high clutch that can also come in late game, Really, this card is going to shine as a DH for people that really like his swing in high levels of play. Um, on All Star, you know, you can obviously make him work, but it's probably not the best. Justice is interesting. He is basically a bench bat, very similar to Charlie Blackmon, actually. So it's funny that sort of those next to each other. You can see these hitting stats. Um, the contact is, I would say, above average right now. The power against righties is, you know, right about where you want. That's kind of your baseline, is about 85 plus. And then the power against lefties is miserable. That is really bad right now. But you can see his clutch is absolutely insane. There's really no spot for him in the field, but his clutch is insane. So as a late game bench bat to use against righties, he's always going to have that insane clutch. He's always going to have high contact and power against righties. So as a bench bat, I think he's great. As a starter, I would not touch him. David Wright, I'm going to put in B tier. To use this card, you need basically, to use this card effectively, you need one of two things. You either need to really like his swing and be able to hit so well with him that you can justify him having basically no power, or you need to be on like legend difficulty. That's where this card's going to shine. Has ridiculously high clutch, has ridiculously high contact, and he has a swing that a lot of people like. I personally absolutely hate it, but if you like him, you can make it work. Class A, probably just B tier. He can get you some outs on All-Star, especially if you're not playing people that don't know what they're doing. But when you get to those higher difficulties of play, that's where he starts to shine, because obviously the pitches get faster, and his insanely high hits right now is like top of the line hits, I believe. Yeah, so he has 108. That's pretty much as good as you can get in the game right now. So that is going to give your opponent the smallest PCI possible. And when you're on Legend, guys like Gary Sanchez, guys like Byron Buxton, they're going to struggle a lot against this card. Longoria, this card can cook. This is a viable card. If you never plan on making it out of All-Star, this is probably an S tier card. His swing is crazy. He plays awesome defense. There's really not too many flaws in this guy's game other than the contact left, right? If the contact left was better, he'd easily be S tier. But with that, he's basically relegated to being an all-star demon card. I don't think there's any way to boost his vision other than adding some parallels. Or not vision, contact. So he's very good, especially if you only play on lower difficulties. But once you start making those higher difficulties, you're going to be cooked. Gary, easy S tier. Might be the best card in Team Affinity. He's basically on every top 50 players team right now. The only catcher really challenging him right now is Mike Piazza, and that card costs like 500k. So not necessarily the greatest against lefties and his clutch struggles, but you can make the argument to use this guy on Legend just because of the contact against righties. This card is crazy, especially if you add him to the Buxton team. It kind of patches up the fact that he is insanely slow and not the best fielding catcher. So he basically becomes almost perfect on the Buxton team. Another guy that goes insane on the Buxton team. This Giancarlo is crazy. Hitting stats wise, this is one of the best hitters in the game at the moment. His swing is, I would say, improved from previous years, but a lot of people always kind of like his swing. He gets way better in the field on the Buxton team. He becomes a diamond fielder with like 75 speed, which is more than serviceable if you play him in right field, his primary position. I believe he has a good amount of hitting quirks. Don't quote me on that. But his hitting stats are immaculate. When you look at this guy with the Buxton team, I have him at parallel 2 on my team. And he's a 95 overall already. You do the math. If you add a couple more parallels, you're looking at 97, 98 overall card that you can get for free by doing the Team Affinity and combining that with the Buxton boost. He is crazy. Ivan is not bad. You can make him work. The contact's high, and the way perfects play this year, you can definitely make him work. But I would stay away from him, especially when Gary's right here. And Gary is twice the card that he is. Flaherty, super slept on card. If you need a free pitcher, this is the cream of the crop. Has really high hits. I believe he has like 93 hits per 9. Has a good enough pitch mix. I think he's missing a cutter or a sinker. He's missing one of those pitches. But it's basically perfect. For a free card, you're going to be hard-pressed to find a better one. Votto, you can make work. if you put him on the Buxton team. Without the Buxton team, he's probably like C tier. But if you put him on the Buxton team, and you use him in the right situations, you can make him work. His clutch is crazy. A lot of people always really like his swing. So if you have like Votto cards in the past, you can make this one work. I'm not gonna say he's top tier, but you can make him work. This card's top tier. This card, there's a caveat. I don't think he makes the Buxton team. Does not make the Buxton team. His hitting stats are already very good. If you run the Nolan Arenado team with this card, he is wild. He is so good. He has a debate to maybe be the best first baseman in the game. He is unbelievable, and I've heard his swing is significantly improved. You will have to be the judge of that. I have not seen it personally myself, but that's just what I've heard through the grapevine. So Leclerc here has a big caveat. If you are using pinpoint, he's going to be awful. He has one of those glitch pinpoint releases right now where you physically cannot throw an accurate pinpoint pitch with him, and you have to slide step. That's how you fix that. So if you slide step, your pitches are going to miss out the par even if you're throwing perfects. So that hurts him. But his pitch mix is elite, and if you don't use pinpoint, or if you are a slide stepping demon, then this card's S tier. He's very good. He has a great pitch mix, and his through nines are very good. Justin Turner goes up here with these guys as being some of the best cards in the pack. He's crazy. He is crazy. I believe he makes the Arenado team also, so he will benefit from that. Look at these hitting stats. Basically a maxed out hitter against lefties. You are not going to find a better hitter against lefties this early in the game than Justin Turner. He's crazy. He has awesome power against righties, so you can see he's very similar to Gary Sanchez already. He's going to play amazing on All-Star and probably Hall of Fame. The only debate you would have for benching this card for anybody right now is if you're somebody that plays on Legend. This card's crazy. He's so good, and I think he makes the Arenado. He does. He makes the Arenado team. I don't think you can see the boost, but yeah, it'll just make him even better. Uke is pretty mid. I want to put him B. I don't think his swing is super inoffensive, and if you want to argue A, then I won't argue against you. But I think the problem with him is he plays first base, and there's just so many better first base options in the game right now. I would consider Manzardo to be one, and he's a free card that everybody can get very quickly by doing a little bit of progress in the spring breakout. So as a first baseman overall, I don't rate him super high, but if you want to use him, I don't think it's the worst pick in the world. Haniger goes in A tier just because if you're using this card, he's pretty much a DH. His hitting or his fielding stats aren't terrible, so you can make it work. But in my mind, he's more of a DH. And if you're using this card, it's because you really like Mitch Haniger swings from the past. So he is there, and I think he's viable, but he probably wouldn't be my first pick there. Rizal, I think Rizal's not insane. His windup can kind of mess with some people, and he's not broken with pinpoint. But his pitch mix is kind of lackluster. I think it's a changeup, a slider, a four seam, and a sinker. So in principle, two of those pitches are basically the same. So then he becomes like a three pitch kind of Edwin Diaz type of pitcher. He can be good, and I think his through nines are very good. But I don't think I would quite put him S tier. Ricky is trash. He's going in C tier. Always has one of the worst swings in the game. I do not care what his stats are. The only value is if you are a bunt demon or you have insane value on left field defense. That's about it. Or if you're somebody who loves stealing. If you love stealing, this is like one of the best cards in the game for it at the moment. I'm personally not going to touch him. He will be my last pick in that. This Sosa card kind of sucks. He'll be fine on All-Star. I would say he's similar to Pudge in the fact that if you want to make him work, you can make him work. He has like 80-something power, which is, it's all right. There's no way he's going to be your first pick in that pack unless you're a diehard Cubs fan or you really loved his swing last year. He has like 80-something power. The real value comes from the outfield defense. As far as a defensive right fielder, you're going to be hard-pressed to find a better one than him. But me personally, I'm not picking a Team Affinity card for his defense. Sean Green sucks. I don't think he makes like any captain teams, and he can't hit lefties. So you're pretty much taking him, acknowledging the fact that he is never going to hit a lefty in his life. and he's basically just a righty killer with mediocre defense and mediocre speed. Don't really like him. Tony Gwynn, you can make this card work. With the way perfects play this year and the way early contacts work, he honestly hits the ball pretty hard. You would be surprised how hard he hits the ball. You can see has awesome contact, awesome vision, awesome clutch. He's great in the field and he's fast. So he's going to do everything other than hit home runs, and he's going to hit occasional home runs. So if you are somebody who values stuff like defense, stuff like speed, he's kind of the perfect guy. He plays defense. He's fast. He's going to get on base for you, and he can hit home runs. So that there's some value in that. If you fit that very small niche player base of the show, then he is good in that regard. Vlad is usable. If you really liked the swing last year, I believe it's basically the same, although I think the model on him is a little different. He's not quite as built as he was last year, but he is still good, and the hitting stats are fine. Again, the power is a little lackluster. It's really that basically if you're using him, his defense is so bad, he's going to have to be a DH, and as a DH, there's so many better options, so I would probably stay away from him. Yaz would probably be S tier if not for Gary. With Gary being here, there's no reason you're running Yaz. You would have to really, really like the fact that he's a switch hitter, and even then, his power is worse than Gary. His contact's worse than Gary. He doesn't make the Buxton team. Doesn't make Arenado, but it doesn't make him that much better. I've looked at him with the boost. So really, no reason to pick him over Gary. But he is good, and if you've liked Yaz in the past, this card's definitely usable. But from a meta standpoint, Gary's better. And then Greinke. He's similar in Flaherty. I think I would personally rather use Flaherty, but he's similar to Flaherty. He's not a bad card, especially with how weak starting pitching is in the game. That's really the only reason any of these guys are in S tier is how weak starting pitching is right now. So it's hard to find good starting pitching. If you run like Greinke, Flaherty, and Webb in your rotation, that's a solid front three. And then you get free guys like Mizorowski and stuff. So not bad. This is the Team Affinity tier list. This is kind of the order I would take guys in, honestly. You can see Showzone kind of shuffled everything. I would say the best card by far is Gary. Everybody's using Gary right now. And then after that, it's probably like a tie between Giancarlo and Justin Turner. And then after that, it's kind of up to you. So, prioritize after that how you will. Obviously, you'll probably earn these guys at different points in time. But honestly, you can make a Team Affinity team right now, and it wouldn't be a bad team to run up ranked with, especially with a lot of these guys making the Buxton team. But yeah, guys, that's going to be it. That is my opinions on what cards you should pick first out of Team Affinity. Till next time, peace.